Detectives have been following multiple leads. They have served many search warrants and uncovered evidence that leads us to believe that she was taken against her will.
Information investigators learned after searching a South Renton home, though investigators won't say where.
Welcome back to the channel, and thanks for being here today. So sometimes a person's life can look perfect from the outside. A spouse they love, their own business, and tons of friends. But people are very good at hiding the dark parts of their lives from others, and often it's not known what's really going on behind the scenes. That's exactly what happened in today's case, and the people who cared for the victim only found out these dark secrets after it was too late. Reyna Hernandez was born on April 1st, 1969 in Monterrey, Mexico. She had moved to the United States when she was 19 and would end up fulfilling her lifelong dream after she bought a hair salon and started her own business called Reyna's Hair Salon, which was located in Renton, Washington. Reyna was described as a happy, friendly, and loving person. She was also said to be a dreamer who was hardworking and kind. Reyna was also very sociable and bubbly and therefore had many friends. In February of 2024, after Reyna's friends hadn't heard from her for a few days and they were unable to reach her, they would call the police and report her as missing. Not only was she not answering their calls and text messages, but Reyna's friends noticed that she had never even returned from running errands on February 26th, which had been 2 days prior. In addition, Reyna hadn't opened up her hair salon in the last couple of days either, and this was highly unusual. One of Reyna's friends spoke with police and told them that she had last spoken to Reyna a few days prior, and when she did, Reyna had told her she was going to her former residence that was located in South Renton. This friend said that she had talked to Reyna sometime between 10 and 10:30 on February 26th, the day that she had gone missing. So going off of this information, the police were able to obtain a search warrant for the home where Reyna said that she had gone. This is the home where Reyna had previously lived with her now ex-husband, Reyna Hernandez, who to friends is known as Alex. So Reyna and Louis had actually just broken up a few weeks prior to her going missing, after they had been together for nearly 30 years. And after she had moved out, Louis had moved in 2 other roommates to help share the rental costs with him. The authorities were able to speak with these 2 current residents. However, Louis was not there at the time. Upon searching the residence, police were able to find Reyna's cell phone that was located on the living room couch. They also found home surveillance videos from February 26th. In the security footage, Reyna is seen pulling up to the home in her maroon Ford Flex. After she exits the vehicle, she's then seen entering the residence where she once lived with Louis. Then, approximately 12 minutes after Reyna had gone inside, a man who looked to be Louis had exited the home. From there, he had gotten into Reyna's car, backed it up into the garage, and then opened the trunk. 61-year-old Louis was then seen on security footage moving items out of the trunk and then packing things back into the trunk for several minutes. He's then seen entering the house again, and a few minutes later, he exits wearing different clothing. After that, he gets in Reyna's car and drives off. And Reyna was never again seen exiting the home on security footage. So after they had reviewed the security footage, Louis became police's #1 suspect. However, they didn't know where he was at the time. After Reyna had been reported as missing, the Renton Police Department spoke with the media and said that she was very likely in danger, as they believed that she was taken somewhere against her will. Police also did not believe that Reyna's car was anywhere in the local area. They believed it had been driven much further away.
Reyna Hernandez's beauty salon hasn't opened in more than a week. In that time, the 54-year-old hasn't been seen or heard from.
Detectives have been following multiple leads. They have served many search warrants and uncovered evidence that leads us to believe that she was taken against her will.
Information investigators learned after searching a South Renton home, though investigators won't say where. The owner of La Fuente, a Mexican restaurant next to Hernandez's beauty salon, says she's been a regular for more than a decade. The news of her disappearance is hard to believe. It was incredible to us because she was here Saturday. I was her server. Hernandez is a hairdresser. Friends say she had many regular clients. She was very happy, joyful. She'd come here to eat, drink a michelada. She'd talk with everybody here like she was part of the family.
I was shocked. I had no idea, and I was really hoping that it may have just been something that wasn't so awful. I mean, I don't know what would have happened at all. I hope she's okay. I don't know where she is.
Hernandez's vehicle is missing too. Police believe her white and maroon Ford Flex is no longer in the area.
We continue to follow up on every active lead we can. We are interviewing all of her friends, family who may have spoken to her last, and trying to really track down the last movements that we know where she was seen.
Those who knew her well are praying for good news.
So for the next few days, the search for Reyna and Louis continued. Then, a little over a week after Reyna had gone missing, on March 8th, one of her relatives would contact police and tell them that they had seen a news article out of Mexico. It said that an unidentified body had been discovered on the Tijuana highway. And Reyna's family member believed that there were possibly similarities to Reyna, so they had contacted the police. Renton police would then contact the Mexican authorities, and in turn, they would send over photos of identifying characteristics on the body that had been found. Reyna's family was then able to confirm that the tattoos on the body were those that belonged to Reyna. Reyna had been found, but unfortunately, not in the manner that everyone had hoped. So 6 days before her body was identified, on March 2nd, police in Mexicali, the capital city of Baja California, Mexico, had discovered Reyna's body. It was lying in a cemetery along the side of Tijuana Highway. Reyna had been wrapped up in a blanket, her hands and feet were bound, and she had a gunshot wound to her head. This gunshot wound would later be determined to be how she had died. At the scene, it was also discovered that whoever had done this to Reyna had tied her body to a tree while she was still inside the trunk of the vehicle. This person had then driven away, which caused her body to fall to the ground. And it was also determined that prior to her death, Reyna had been tortured. Authorities would quickly realize that the blanket that Reyna's body had been found wrapped up in was the same blanket that they had seen on video surveillance footage at Louis's house. He had been seen loading this blanket into Reyna's maroon Ford Flex on the day that she had gone missing. Then, just days after Reyna's body was identified, Louis was pulled over and apprehended at a Mexican military checkpoint when he was found to be carrying large amounts of cash, 6 bags containing fentanyl, methadone, and gun ammunition. At the time, he had been driving the 2009 Ford Flex that was registered to Reyna's stepson. He was then arrested and given charges in relation to the drugs that he had been carrying on him. So while the police did not have Louis in custody for charges related to Reyna's murder, they at least had him detained while they continued their investigation. The Renton police began to look at Reyna's death as a homicide that was likely caused due to domestic violence. But before Louis would be able to be extradited back to the United States to possibly face any murder charges, authorities first had to determine if Reyna had been killed in the United States or in Mexico. Authorities in Renton also made it clear that they planned on charging Louis with kidnapping as well, regardless of where the murder had occurred. In the meantime, Louis Hernandez was held inside a jail in Mexico on a $5 million bail, as he was considered to be a substantial threat to the safety of the community, as well as a guaranteed flight risk. So before Reyna had moved to Renton, she had actually lived in California, which is where she had met her former spouse, Louis Hernandez. The couple had then lived in Renton together for a while, but just recently, on February 18th, they had decided to go their separate ways. In the day that Reyna had gone missing, she had actually gone over to Louis' apartment so that they could finalize the details of their split. And Reyna's sister Sarah would say that while Reyna had been in a relationship with Louis, she had been the victim of domestic violence. In fact, multiple people, including a few of her hair salon clients, had actually seen Reyna with a black eye days prior to her disappearance. Also, not long before she had gone missing, Reyna had posted some photos to her Facebook, and in it, you can see that not only does she have a black eye, but she also has scratch marks all over her chest. Reyna had recently told her friends that Louis had punched her in the face when he found out she was seeing somebody new. He also regularly threatened to kill her when he was angry. Reyna's friend Reyna Hernandez, who had last spoken with her, said that that day Reyna had not been acting like her usual self. Whenever Lupita had asked her friend if she could go run some errands with her, Reyna would never tell her no, but that day she had. This was because she said she needed to go fix some things with Louis, but unfortunately, it was the last time Lupita would ever hear from her. And another friend of Reyna's would also say that she had not been acting like herself the day she had gone missing. She had been rather quiet, which was very odd because normally she was loud and outspoken. On the other hand, Reyna's sister, Sarah Carrillo, said the last time she had spoken with Reyna on February 24th, she had seemed very happy. Reyna had told her sister that she had gone dancing the night before and had gone to church that morning. On March 26th, when a family member was cleaning out Louis' former residence, they discovered a bullet casing which was later determined to be from a .32 caliber pistol. During police's investigation, they had also tracked Louis' phone to see where it had gone after Reyna disappeared. Her car had then been captured on camera on February 26th in Oregon and on February 27th in California. Detectives would determine that Reyna had been shot and killed within minutes of her entering the home on February 26th. After he had shot her in the head, Louis had then used the winch system from his son's Jeep to drag Reyna's body into the back of the vehicle before then heading down to Mexico. Once he had gotten to Mexico, some 47 hours after he had killed Reyna, Louis attached a second rope to her, this time tying it around her ankles. He had then backed into the area that he was going to leave her, tied Reyna's body to a tree, and driven away, causing her body to be dragged out of the vehicle and onto the ground. At the beginning of May 2024, first-degree murder charges were officially filed by investigators against Louis Hernandez in relation to Reyna's death. He has not yet been charged with kidnapping, as the Renton police promised they would. However, it's possible these charges could be added later. Right now, Louis is still being held in a Mexican jail, and the U.S. Department of Justice is working on getting him extradited back to the States. And Reyna's body was flown back to the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport on March 30th with the help of the FBI. Her family had then begun planning a memorial service and said they would eventually like to bring her back to where she was born in Monterrey, Mexico. So I'm assuming that means that she will be cremated. Reyna's close friend, Reyna Hernandez, said that Reyna was always cheerful, talkative, and laughing. She also said that Reyna had been a great friend who always tried to stay positive and was never sad. She went on to say, "We would talk every day over the phone or text. It affected me not to hear her laugh." Another of her friends said about her, "Reyna wasn't just a stylist. I would always say she was like a heart doctor because people would show up for a haircut, but in reality, what people would come to fix were their emotions and heart. You could show up sad or with any problem, and she would always have the right words to help you feel happy and find meaning in things." A large makeshift memorial with flowers, photos, and messages also started to pop up in front of Reyna's hair salon in memory of the vivacious and amazing hairdresser that everyone loved so much.
I mean, if you take a look, you can still see that this memorial continues to grow as family and friends continue to pay their respects. I can tell you that family says and confirms that the man who has been arrested in Mexicali is Reyna's partner. Renton police say he's their main suspect, but until her time and cause of death are determined, they don't know where or when she was killed.
Dios te salve María, llena eres de gracia, Señor es contigo.
A string of polished beads dangles between their fingers as whispered prayers echo in Reyna's happy place, her hair salon.
Y Renton era de Reyna.
Her sister, Sara Carrillo, says Renton was Reyna's everything. She left her home and family in Monterrey in hopes of the American dream.
Reyna era una persona muy soñadora.
She says Reyna was a dreamer, a hardworking and empathetic person with a lot of love to give. filled with grief. Sara says she's proud to see all the love her sister sowed for many years here in the U.S., building a strong community who became her family for the last 25 years.
Entro a su salón y siento su perfume, siento su alegría.
I walk into the salon and I smell her perfume, sense her joy, and hear all the stories that people share when they come in, Sara said. A community she sees hurting just as much as she is.
Y menos de la manera que fue.
Much less the way it happened, Sara said.
It's sad to know that Reyna was being mistreated by her husband, and when she finally got up the courage to leave him, things only got worse and she ended up losing her life. I'm guessing that Louis thought he would never be caught dumping Reyna's body all the way down in Mexico. Luckily, Reyna had many friends and family members who were looking out for her best interest. If only they could have saved her before it was too late. Thanks for watching, and if you like true crime, don't forget to subscribe to Wicked Ways, and you'll be notified of our new weekly videos. Also, check out my other true crime channel, A Wicked World. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care. Bye.